2023. So if you've ordered a 2023 Maverick or are thinking of ordering one, you're going to want to hear this. We're also going to be talking about price protection, getting the right price in today's market. So no matter what you're shopping, Ford, Dodge, Chrysler, GM, Mercedes, it doesn't matter. We've got helpful advice, and we're going to be talking about how to get the right price. So we're also going to be talking about, ordering and price protection specifically at Ford. So that has to do with the Maverick mix-up as well as when you actually get your Maverick. So we're going to be talking about Maverick order versus delivery times, a little bit of transport time. We've got hands-on experience with this, deal with it on a regular basis. And well, of course, more than just dealing with it on a regular basis, I've been doing this for about 10 years in the business. We got Marie, who worked as a F&I, as they call them, a financial commercial director. So basically doing people's financing and helping with, the extended warranties, insurances, and all that information. Mm-hmm. So she worked at Toyota. Now we've got Bronco ordering information, Ford Ranger information, production numbers, 2023 pricing forecast. So that's one that is near and dear to my heart because I've been arguing about this. Well, not arguing so much, but I've been saying all through 2021 and 2022, now is the time to buy. When a lot of people were saying, hold off, don't buy, prices are going to be coming way down. And I was saying, no, prices are going to be going up, up, and up. That was my prediction. I had reasons for those predictions, forecasts, as well as just, word of mouth, a bit of insider information. I'm going to be sharing what my forecast for 2023 is this evening. And we're also going to be talking about what to do with those very pesky over MSRP vehicles. So what vehicles are over MSRP? And you're going to be wonderfully or disappointedly surprised. Sorry, not quite a word. Making up words here, but not making up the data. There are vehicles over MSRP still, and we're going to be talking about that. That's one thing I expect to come down. I'm going to give you tricks about not paying over MSRP, how to avoid that. Marie, hold me to that. Make sure I do share tips and tricks on how to avoid paying over MSRP. But you want to hunt these MSRP models. You want to be buying these over MSRP models, but buying them at MSRP, because that means you're going to have incredible trade-in value and you're going to get more cars and more power. That's what this channel's been about from the very beginning. Maintaining your vehicles, getting the best buyer's advice, how to buy at the right price. And yes, it's unbelievably annoying trying to get your hands on a hot model. Ford Maverick, really annoying trying to get your hands on one. Ford Bronco, annoying getting your hands on one. But these vehicles that are hot are also the ones that dealers want to sell over MSRP, that often can sell over MSRP. But if you're patient and you put the right moves in, then you get a vehicle with an incredible resale value. Marie has been unbelievably patient with her Maverick. She has almost canceled it. She's shopped other vehicles from time to time. She's almost canceled it a few times.
You tempt me with a Mach-E.
But now you're going to be wonderfully rewarded. So I've got real information, real live on the field information about the Maverick, and this is going to apply for any hot vehicle. So even if you're not a Ford fan, even if you say, I'm never going to buy a Ford again, I'm never going to buy a Ford, whatever, you're at the right place to get some really great buyer's advice to help save you thousands. Because saving thousands, it's a multitude of aspects and variables to look at. It's your trade-in, it's shopping the new vehicle, and it's also the depreciation on a vehicle. Some people are going to say, joke's on you. I left my Maverick order in the dust. I'll never buy a Ford again. And look how it was so easy to go get this, and they won't say this, but I'm throwing it in, very unpopular model with horrible resale with a current big rebate on it, and they feel like, they're the biggest winners ever. Well, you might feel like a big winner now because you didn't have any of the inconveniences. You didn't wait a long time for one of these two vehicles, or one of the top 10 list from Car and Driver of vehicles selling over MSRP. These are all vehicles that you have a high risk of waiting for. If you want a Toyota RAV4 Prime, you're going to be waiting at some dealerships generally 2.5 to 5 years to get one, but your resale is insane. So in life, nothing's all roses. You can't expect to get, you know, everything. I think the expression in English is there's an the expression is in French, something about not getting the cow's milk as well as the cow. So we're going to be talking about that because there are inconveniences.
It's the butter and the cash of the butter.
Okay, you don't get the butter and the cash of the butter. So you can't expect to get a vehicle right now with a huge rebate and then also have a good resale value. Or possibly the vehicles that are available easily now with huge discounts. In some cases, they're also not the most reliable vehicles. And this Maverick is incredible. It's worth the wait. So for those of you who've been watching my content specifically for Maverick information, this show is for you, but it's also for everyone. General advice. Let's get started. A long intro.
We just have a question to start. JM Genoa wants to know, what did you do to your wrist? So
I've been a computer monkey for 3 years now, mostly doing computer work. So lots with this channel all day at work. So I'm generally doing about 12 to 14 hours per day dealing with a mouse and computer. Lovely partner here, the wife, she bought me one of these new mouses that are on the side. So it's carpal tunnel, both sides. Anyways, let's get down to business. So that's the type of question, if you want, you can type away an answer, since you know the answer too, because it's not what this show's about. So, but thank you for asking.
You're shy speaking about you.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about cars now. So let's get started. So we're going to leave the Maverick information, particular to Marie, for in just a moment. So that's going to be about the third topic for tonight. Let's talk about what I never got to do last Monday night, and let's talk about auto forecast. What are 2023 prices going to be looking like? Because all throughout a good part of 21, once prices started to go up, and then pretty much everyone on YouTube in 2022 was saying, don't buy, wait, 2, 3, 4 months, prices are going to crash. That's what was being said. And meanwhile, I was really bucking the trend, and I was kind of saying, well, you've got an amazing trade value on your vehicle, whether you trade it in or you sell it yourself. Your old vehicle is worth a fortune. Yeah, the prices have gone up a little, but the trades are worth so much. So if you have a trade, it's actually a great time to buy. So I was pushing people to buy now when everyone was saying to hold off. Now, if you did hold off, you're in a whole lot of trouble. Prices have gone up, skyrocketed. You've got CarEdge dealing with, love the guys over at CarEdge, Ray and Zach. They do a fantastic job of showing real life data, and they're showing how prices have gone up. And they're doing a great job of it. I just need to correct one small thing because I like to be precise as often as possible. And right here, I just want to point out the Lightning did not go up 40%. The Lightning was 41,669 in 2022, and it's not 93,609. It is 55,974, and that's a 25.6% price increase. And just because Tesla has had prices drop on their electric vehicles, that's signaling to a lot of people to say, again, hold off. Prices are going to be dropping right down. Tesla is a one-off instance. They dropped the prices, and Ford, the Mach-E as well, to compete in China. They did it here as well, and it's a one-off. So I just want to point that out before continuing off. I want to say thank you very much, Ridgeview, for making it to be our moderator this evening. And Peugeot, who's always here in the house, is here. Thank you so much for making it. Driven Wild Outdoors. Good evening to you. That's our friend Dwayne, that once a year we go and off-road with. So generally the market here is telling everyone to hold off. However, people don't always agree. In a relationship, you don't always agree. And I'm starting to see that Ray and Zach, I think, don't agree on this, because right here, Zach is saying Ford and GM prices are going to crash in 2023. And I'm going to say, a bit of the arguments for both cases, but my forecast prices are not going to drop. We're going to see MSRP or this over MSRP nonsense disappear if you play your cards right. And smart dealers aren't going to be playing that deck of cards. That's not a good poker hand to be trying to play right now. But you've got Ray over here saying car prices are going to be crazy for the next 10 years. And he specifically said that, it's either kind of maintain your current vehicle for as long as possible, but basically buy now or pay more later is pretty much a direct quote from his episode. And he's starting to turn around. So for this, for a stock market analysis, we're saying he's going towards sort of a bull saying, buy now. Well, I've been a bull the whole time saying buy right now, but you need to know how to buy, what to know, what to say, how to negotiate. And actually Car Edge, I'm going to plug them. Fantastic. Lots of videos on, how to purchase, negotiate. And, that's what we do here as well, but I think they do it really well and they've been doing it far longer than I have. So I really need to plug them. So Cox Automotive, if you want to follow along and, do some background reading, basically what's been going on is, Cox Automotive, they're going through the data and they're saying, hey, February new sales are, they're more than they were a year ago. And that's due to improving inventory, which I can confirm inventory was way down, next to nothing in 2022. And, fear of losing out. So FOMO set in and a lot of people started to buy 2021. The inventory that was available with the few vehicles that were coming in made a bit of, you could say, a surplus. Then in 2022, prices were down come 2022. And we could see it over at Ford here. I've got I had something saved in the computer from 2022. And it was pointing out that February sales for 2022 were down 21 or 22% from what they had been in 2021. So 2022 saw overall sales go down because there are just less vehicles. So we've got it right up there, basically down 20.9% from 2021 to 2022. So 2022 low sales. Right now, sales are being maintained by inventory, but a lot of people on YouTube are saying, don't buy right now. Manufacturers are in so much trouble because the only reason the numbers are good is because they're sending a lot of vehicles to fleet. That consumer sales are actually stagnant or, poor. And that look at what manufacturers are having to do. They're having to send all these vehicles off to fleet sales, which are low profit, very, very low profit margins. They're not good sales. So they're seeing this as a move of desperation. And you could, go with that line of thinking and say, once all these fleet sales are done, what are they going to do? If they don't have fleet buyers buying and they don't have consumers buying, what happens? That would crash. If they want to continue selling and bring people in, they need to lower the prices. And if both fleet and consumer sales are way down, then the rebates would have to be huge. Well, here's the thing. I think we're forgetting. For the last basically 2 years, manufacturers essentially either stopped or almost stopped sending vehicles as fleet sales. So manufacturers were building next to no fleet vehicles. So fleet numbers went way down. And if you still have only a certain amount of vehicles you can produce. So production is limited. It's better than it was, but it is limited. And they're way behind in delivering these fleet vehicles to the companies. So they're catching up. And when you're catching up and you don't want people to be upset about waiting on their vehicle and you want to regain some inventory, what do? Well, you have prices be a little higher. Now, the MSRPs went up in 2022. And right now, the monthly payments are pretty darn high. They're pretty outrageous. And that's because of a combination of interest rate as well as the prices that have gone up. But just like we see in the real estate, and even more so like in construction and building, we're not going to see those prices. If anything, the prices are going to stay pretty much the same. And to increase sales, interest rates might go down. And I do predict interest rates are going to go down. My prediction is pricing is either going to be very similar to what we see right now, but I'm much more inclined to think that we'll see better interest rates on current 2023 models come summer or fall.
That's good news.
That's good news. So one thing I'm positive about, inventories have gone up and they're going to continue to go up a little bit more. We have seen GM making the move to actually control production so that inventory doesn't go up too high. That's about controlling cost as well, because there's interest to be paid. I'm sure manufacturers are going to be happy when they have to stop. Some manufacturers give back a bit of a bonus when you get rid of vehicles once you sell the vehicle, and the bonus really is just to help pay for that interest, because there used to be a lot of interest to pay on these vehicles. And with the increases in prices, they want to keep these vehicles on dealer lots for a shorter period of time, so that they don't have to give back as much money to the dealers to help cope with the interest. And the interest would be much higher these days because vehicles are much higher than they used to be. They've gone up. You look at an XLT 302 Sport from 3-4 years ago. Let's say 4 years ago, it was about $58,000 Canadian, and now they're about $73,000, $74,000 Canadian. So prices have gone up a lot over 4 years. Not a prediction. I'm confident that well-equipped trucks are the new luxury vehicles. If you go back to 1990s and 2000s, big price tags on anything that was luxury. Now trucks are the new luxury vehicle for the modern age. And all this means is, yes, you're going to see some layoffs at some of these truck plants like other YouTubers talk about. Here we've got flying wheels. Why car prices are up again, and they are, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But you've got Car Questions Answered saying GM and Ford can't sell trucks, layoffs starting. Yes and no. GM and Ford can sell trucks. The minute they lower interest rates, consumer sales will go up. But right now, I think they're happy getting a bit of inventory and trying to get to the right inventory level. But as we move forward in the future, we're going to see less of these gasoline-powered trucks sold and more electric trucks sold. So unfortunately, this is a move being pushed by the governments. All manufacturers will be penalized if they don't have a 50 mile per gallon fleet average, meaning they're going to artificially have us buy. They're going to make it so we don't want to buy gasoline trucks. Unless you have a good amount of money, huge, deep pockets, you're not going to be buying a gasoline powered truck in 5 years. So I'm saying it, my huge prediction, and I'm 100% confident about this, is if you want a gasoline powered truck, buy one this year. You could not take the risk and just buy one right now, or maybe see if I'm right and see if interest rates do drop by 2% come end of summer, early fall. And that's only going to occur if there's a decent amount of inventory. That's going to be their tool. Manufacturers are going to use interest rates as their tool to control inventory. Now, it would be a bad move if they go back to, any manufacturer that throws a huge rebate on their new vehicle just instantly killed your trade value, making it so that you can trade less often. Because if your trade value is low and your amount owing is high, that's negative equity. And when you have negative equity, banks say, we're not financing that. And when you have negative equity, if it's big enough negative equity, you either have to put down cash. So be very wary when a dealer asks you for cash. That's one of my important tips for today, is don't put cash. If you're being told you have to put cash, you need to know why. Because sometimes trade values are hidden. If you sell the new vehicle at a higher price, or you don't give, if there are any rebates, you don't give the rebates that are there. You know, there's nothing that holds back. We've seen it the last 2 years. If a dealer wants to add an extra $5,000 or $10,000 to the price of a vehicle, they can. And they could then also give you 5 or 10,000 more for your trade so that it looks like it's a great time to trade your vehicle. You don't have any negative equity. So be weary of when a dealer asks you for cash. You shouldn't have to put down cash to get your financing or lease. Now, another thing is make sure that you do get the interest rate provided by the manufacturer. They are almost always better than a bank rate. But sometimes some dealers will try to bypass the manufacturer's interest rate, which generally gives them $0, and send you straight to a bank. That where they do get money. They can get a kickback from taking you to a bank. So if you're buying a new vehicle, go online, build your vehicle online, make sure you have the right MSRP price, see if there are any internet rebates. Now, overall, the average rebate on vehicles for the month of February did go up a little. It's around $1,600. So that is an improvement from 6 months ago. So some people might say, oh, but Johnny's wrong. There's incentives now. And there weren't rebates 6 months ago. Yeah, but 6 months ago, vehicles cost less. And 12 months ago, vehicles cost considerably less. Zach was saying that the Lightning went up 40%. It didn't. It went up 25.6%. But there's an instance of, imagine someone that waited and went, oh, well, you know, I find the Lightning's interest back then it was at 4.99 in Canada. Now it's 6.99. Imagine someone that said, no, I'm going to wait. I think prices are going to go down and I'm going to get a better deal. Oh boy, are you not getting a better deal? So I'm very much a believer of buy now. And if not now, if you're finding the interest rates too high, order a vehicle now, because likely it'll come in, 3 to 7 months. And that's about when, if we do see lower interest rates, we will. And what's great about Ford, I don't like ordering at GM. You order at GM and the price you're going to pay is, well, the price and interest rate when the vehicle shows up. So I don't like the uncertainty. I like when things are certain. So when you're at Ford, let's talk about price protection. When you're at Ford, you need to get a few things in your hands. First of all, you need to get a build sheet. It's not going to be one of these. This is a window sheet. And right here, this is once your vehicle is, well, generally anywhere up to 2 months before your vehicle gets built, you might get a serial number. Sometimes it's 2 to 3, as low as 3 weeks before. But this actually gets pulled out about a week before your vehicle gets built, roughly a week, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more. But you need a build sheet. Get them to sign that. There's a price on that. Get their signature. Then you need a lease or purchase agreement. You're going to sign that, and they need to sign that, and they need to send both of those things off to Ford with your driver's license. Now, if you really want to make sure that they did things correctly, I've got Marie's here right now, so this isn't confidential because I know that you're okay with me showing your Dora sheet. So you've got this sheet here, and I'm going to keep off, only show the top of it. But right here, you got Marie's Maverick. If you get a photo, ask for a Dora sheet. You'll get a photo of at least the top of this, and you're going to know that it's the real deal, because right near the top, third line on the right, it says priority. I've got good news for you, Marie. We're going to be talking about your Maverick, and I've got some really interesting and weird and unfortunate and frustrating things about your Maverick, but there's great news.
I knew they broke it.
Your Maverick is worth so much more. I've got really cool Maverick news today, but I've also got really bad Maverick news, and that's why this show,
I'm afraid.
What we're saving, the best for last. It's about the Maverick mix-up. There's a mix-up with your Maverick, so be afraid. Be very, very afraid.
Tell us now, please.
I can't tell you now. I'm not done the other material, which is the general material for all auto buyers. So things to know when you're buying a vehicle these days. Go in, get a signed agreement of the price they're going to sell you the vehicle at, as well as the interest rate. If you're built as a if you're at Ford and you get these things locked in, get your order confirmed, get them to sign a lease agreement, purchase agreement. Some dealers are going to lie to you and say, oh, we can't do that. That's a contract. No, these are just, kind of what you could call promises to purchase. They certainly can print those off. And if they're unwilling to do it at all costs, get them to write it in by hand or on computer and sign at the bottom of the sheet on the build sheet saying that they will sell it to you at the price of the build sheet. But I love ordering at Ford because you get these things locked in if you play your cards correctly. So to wrap it up, in regards to the general information, price increases are the new norm. They're for 2023, they're either going to stay at the same MSRP prices, and even if manufacturers realize, oh, we raised prices too much, we really cooled off the market, they're not going to just automatically drop those window sticker prices. MSRP is staying where it is or going higher. And the other thing that they're going to do if they're not moving any units is drop the interest rate. There's a cost for manufacturers to do that, but smart manufacturers will drop the interest rate and not the rebates. Because when they throw a $10,000 rebate at you, if you happen to own that model and that model is your trade-in, so you're going to buy an F-150 and you're trading in an F-150, you just lost $10,000 on your F-150. Tesla did it, and guess what? I'm going to use a bad word. Tesla screwed its buyers. Tesla screwed Tesla owners. When you drop the price of a vehicle by 10 grand, you just screwed everyone who owns that vehicle and would have liked to have traded. Now, if you can't produce enough vehicles versus the demand, some manufacturers will, sort of have the attitude of, well, who cares if people who already have a Tesla can't buy another Tesla? They already have one. We already have too many customers, more customers than vehicles that we can produce, so we don't care about those people. That really frustrates me. I'm telling you, if I see a $10,000 rebate, if I see employee pricing come back to Ford with $10,000, $12,000 rebates, I'm going to be very frustrated. I'm going to be very, very frustrated. The big F word, frustrated. I'm going to be super frustrated. Capitalize that. So let's hope that doesn't happen because that's going to affect everybody. Now, before we get to the Maverick news, Ford F-150 Raptor news. I held off on selling my Raptor. I bought a Lightning and I held off selling a Raptor in January and February because historically, I've said it before, December, January, February are the worst times of the year to sell a vehicle. Prices historically always go down. Pretty much everyone in the market saw this as the beginning of the collapse for the automobile industry, that prices would come way down in 2023. And guess what? Used vehicles are selling wholesale in February for more. They actually went up considerably. And the Raptor value, to talk about the Raptor, I looked at selling it, either, exporting it or trading it in. And I had on export only $60,000 because there was this real fear that the American market would completely crash. Then there is, on the Canadian side, I had 65 for it. So 60 versus 65. And right now my offers are 70 and $73,000. So huge increase. The market overall increase, I noted it here. I believe it was 4.6% higher sale prices on wholesale. So Cox Automotive, they look at the wholesale. They look at what prices these vehicles are going for at auction. They're up 4.6%. So not that huge crash whatsoever. Good if you held off in regards to buying this winter. Now, vehicles that are selling over MSRP are the ones we want to be hunting for. So try to order up a Maverick now. Pre-order. Order a Bronco come the 27th of March and order that brand new Ford Ranger. The new Ranger, I think, is going to have incredible resale value. I think it's going to come out with a really, what we're going to end up saying is a very reasonable price. And then 2-3 years down the road, we're going to say, wow, Ranger prices really are so much higher. As an auto enthusiast, from the time I could crawl, I was playing with cars and I was drawing cars nonstop when I was a kid. I'm guaranteeing you the Ranger is going to come out of a price, and then 3 years later, it's going to be considerably more because it's going to be a huge success. So if order a new Ranger, that should be popping up come this summer. We'll find out whether we're going to order online directly with Ford or we'll go into our dealers. I'll keep you all notified about that. March 27th is when we're going to be ordering those new Broncos. Now, I don't know what traditionally resale value on Mustangs have always been good. Many years, it's actually been named the vehicle with the best resale value. That's not going to be happening now that we've got, the Bronco and the Maverick. Your Maverick is worth an absolute fortune. But let's move away from Ford. And, I promised Marie, I didn't promise her, I kind of asked her a favor. I said, can you handle the section of the show where we talk about non-Fords that are worth shopping? But you need to shop them right. So don't be afraid to shop a vehicle via text or email or telephone. When you're not at the dealership, this makes dealerships nervous. If they throw you an over MSRP price, it means they just really don't care about selling you a vehicle. Then why would you go in and waste your time in person and trying to have them hide the actual cost of the vehicle and, tell them that it's X price when it should be this price? So start your shopping with looking what the prices are online. Then you can send out emails or phone calls to dealerships and get them, hey, I'm looking for this model. Give me a call back what that price would be. Be open to color, because if you deal with what's in the inventory, you don't have to worry about them getting the price wrong down the road. So let's cover this right now. These are models that are selling over MSRP right now are going to have incredible trade values if you buy them at MSRP. So shop those vehicles online and then send emails, phone calls, texts to get the right price. This way you can look at different dealers, unless you've got someone that you already know you can trust, that you've been doing business with for years, or other people have been doing business with for years. Well, that person, if they've earned their reputation, well, you can go in, just know what the internet price is, and they're probably going to, if they have a great reputation, they're almost certainly going to treat you fairly. So I'm not saying to avoid dealers altogether. I'm just saying if you don't have a connection with any dealers anywhere, that's the way to get it done. So Marie, I'm going to let you, car and driver here. I've been reading them since I could read. I was looking at their pictures before I could read, and now I can say that since I could read, I was reading them. Let's cover some of these popular models, Marie.
Yeah, so we'll start with the Lexus RX 350h. By the way, I love that color. It's a special one that we don't see often on cars. Yeah. So it says 20.3% difference between the asking price and the MSRP.
Okay, so yeah, here's a vehicle. You look online, you might say, oh, I better avoid this. This is generally, on average, selling for 20.3% more than its, what we would call fair price, the MSRP, the manufacturer suggested retail price. If you get one of these at MSRP, you're going to be really happy when more cars and more power, right? I want to give you the tricks to switch vehicles often. So more power, more cars, more power, drive this for a year, and you probably won't be upside down. And if you are, well, then maybe wait an extra year. And by upside down, I mean negative equity. And that's when your vehicle value is lower than what you owe. You don't want to trade when your vehicle is worth less than what you owe, because then you're putting that on to the next vehicle. And if you keep shopping these loser cars, you're going to end up putting it on your next vehicle. And the biggest, I have no problem saying the real deal. I don't want anyone getting fooled here. And sometimes the real deal means I'm going to pet the cat backwards. So here I'm going to do it again. Now that Lily's finally asleep, I can talk about cats.
Talk about cats.
No one on YouTube wants to ever tell, the purchasers, the people watching their videos, no car review person wants to say that, hey, it's your fault. And I'm going to say it. Dealers do a lot of things wrong. Some dealers do a lot of things wrong, and some buyers do a lot of things wrong. They repeat the same process over and over, hoping to one day get a different result. Well, look up the definition of stupidity and you'll find that doing the same thing over and over and expecting to get a different result when you're doing the same thing, that's kind of dumb. So in the past, if you've bought cars and you've been really upside down, it's because you got a car that's, unpopular. It's a loser for whatever reason. Bad reliability, possibly. Bad characteristics. Various reasons can go into a vehicle's depreciation, but you want to avoid these vehicles. But this is not a loser, and you won't be a loser with these. So sometimes people say, I hear this all the time from non-car enthusiasts, cars are all the same. An SUV is an SUV. A truck is a truck. They're all the same. No, they have their pros and their cons. No, they're not all the same. They have major differences. And some cars are winners and some cars are losers. And the cars that are losers are the cars that you buy today and then you feel like trading in 2 years because you can't stand it anymore. And that's why you got it at a good price in the first place. The reason it had a huge rebate, and this is another thing, a loser technique of shopping is shopping a rebate and not the vehicle. So many people do this. They shop the rebate and they go, well, I'm just going to buy, all cars are the same, so I'm going to buy the model at the dealership and the model that gives me the biggest rebate. And they feel that means they got a great deal. Well, so many times, and just in 10 years, and I know people who've been doing in the business for 30 years plus, I can talk to my brother about this tomorrow, and I know I've heard him talk about this before. You'll have people come in and say, well, you know what? 2 years ago, let's say, they'll say, well, I'm buying this other vehicle because the rebate's bigger. So, okay, so you went shopping for a rebate. You didn't go shopping for a vehicle. And if you get the vehicle with the biggest rebate, you've got the biggest loser. 2 years later, they don't like their biggest loser. There's a reason manufacturers couldn't sell X model. And now it's not worth anything, or it's worth very little. So 2 years later, you'd see people being $10, $12, sometimes $15,000 upside down, or the proper word is negative equity. You're in finance. How often did you see negative equity?
A lot, like half of the time.
And another half, you didn't have negative equity because they were Toyota owners.
Yeah, but when they came with another brand
Yep.
to exchange to buy a Toyota, I see that often. I saw a guy with a Chrysler 300 having $15,000
Yep.
in exchange on his new Toyota Prius. And it was, like you said, not just that car, the one before and the one before. So we finally
Loser
told
car
him.
after loser car after loser car. And then if you're my neighbor, I'll retain myself. But sometimes I think my neighbor keeps buying loser cars. My neighbor's kind of a loser. I'm not talking about any of my neighbors because my neighbor actually has a Ford F-150 truck and he's got great resale on that. So my fictional neighbor, just so I'm not pinpointing anyone.
Yeah, and we told the guy, now that you have a Prius and you will have a great value, just continue your lease till the end and you will finally pay for your Chrysler and the other one and the other one. So this one, keep it and you'll be fine.
He would have gotten at the end of his lease and then had probably, almost certainly, positive equity. Positive equity is when you bought a winner of a vehicle. So you can, and I don't know, I've almost had, several times I've had Priuses almost kill me. And I know Jeremy Clarkson actually seems to have very strong negative words towards Prius owners. He calls them, I think, the biggest morons. I don't agree.
That's not what you said before. No, you were talking about them being slow on the road.
Yes, but then I got passed by a Prius and you pointed it out and I learned.
You don't speak about it anymore.
Yes. I don't speak about it anymore. It was embarrassing. So let's cover the next car. Okay, so we've had this huge push towards sedans. So I have a lot of trouble thinking that a sedan will have great resale. But if it's selling over MSRP now, it risks having pretty darn good resale. But I generally avoid any sedan. And the tides could turn. Sedans or coupes could come back in style. But generally, they're not in style, and generally, they are a great way to lose a lot of money. You buy one, so let's say 2019, You had a 2-year-old Jaguar sedan. Horrible resale. Tons of depreciation, big loss. But hey, maybe of the sedans, looks like if you really want a sedan, here's a good one. I'll let you call it out.
Yeah, so it's the Cadillac CT5. It's another 20.3% difference.
Between asking and what the dealer can sell it for. And the dealer can sell it for that because it's popular. And if it's popular now, it risks being popular later. Now, I still have trouble with this. Porsche, SUVs, but SUVs are so popular, they can even get a premium. Porsche can get a premium on one of these bad boys.
Yeah, the Porsche Macan. Did I say it well, Macan?
I think you did.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I know certain YouTubers,
sure.
actually one of my favorite channels, TFL, Roman would not be happy unless you say Porsche. So he says
Porsche.
you can't be an auto journalist unless you say Porsche. You've got to say it correctly. I like kind of that American attitude of, you know what? I'm in my country, and if you're in my country, we're gonna kind of go by my rules, and I'm gonna say things with my pronunciation, and that's okay because it's my
But
country.
anyway, here everybody says Porsche. So if you
Everyone-
say Porsche, people will look at you like that.
In Canada, everyone says everything incorrectly. We finish sentences with A, and there's so many different dialects. There's different, just in French dialects. Across Quebec, there's all sorts of different French dialects. I can't even understand
that
some of
everywhere.
them. Yeah, yes, but there's also quite a
Everywhere
few
language.
English dialects as well. But anyways, we say everything wrong in Canada compared to the States. This one, I can definitely put my hand on the Bible. Great resale on, I expect great resale on one of these, but the Telluride, Kia's Telluride, that is a definite winner. But I expect this to be a winner as well.
So yes, the Genesis JV80. Oh, I have trouble.
J and G in French.
Yeah, I need to think more about it while I'm saying it. But this model really looks like the SUV of the Jaguar.
Yeah. But risk being much more reliable.
Who copied who?
Much. Genesis,
We know
Kia,
it.
Hyundai, and Genesis. If you're ever wondering if it looks like anything else, don't ever wonder who copied who. They're always the ones that copy and modify and wait until China. If China breaks into our market, they actually just literally copy vehicles. They're totally okay with this. They have no, they don't really have laws against reverse engineering someone else's product. And actually, I think it's kind of encouraged because then it's like, oh, well, you reverse engineer it and then you can, make a better version of it, or you can make a more affordable version of it. So that's just their way of looking at it.
Oh, this one looks more younger.
I love how this looks.
Cadillac CT4V. Yeah,
Love it.
that color really helps.
Absolutely love the look of that vehicle. I really like these. I really like the 4XE. That would be my choice. And I really love the tops on these. So a Jeep, you can actually have a painted top with the roof that comes back in cloth, electrically pulled back. You can have this
practical.
plug-in. I love the look of this, the thought of this.
Yeah, the Jeep Wrangler.
Everything about this except the suspension. I despise the suspension on these. They jitter all over the place. I can't handle how they drive. So, and yes, even the new models. The old models were really bad. The new models are just bad. And I've driven so many vehicles and there's so much choice out there that bothers me. And then I don't want a vehicle that I have to worry about the transmission. But otherwise, as a vehicle I would buy and lease, very cool. And yeah, I just wouldn't want to own these for a very long period of time, but I never own anything for a very long period of time. So this would work for me if it wasn't for the darn suspension.
Next one, the Porsche Taycan?
I'd say Taycan.
Taycan.
I think-
Okay. What's that color? It's a mix between gold, pink, and maybe bronze?
So maybe this one won't sell over MSRP based on Matthew's attitude, but yeah, 22.7% over MSRP on average. Hey, it's kind of funny. We haven't seen the Maverick or the Bronco yet. So the last one, I'm going to cover this, Mercedes-Benz GLB class, 22.9% over. So MSRP, the price on average that they're selling for. So no Broncos. Again, a Jeep. So people, you play poker, and life is sometimes like poker. Don't expect to have, if you're going to complain every time your hand isn't all aces or all kings, you're going to be pretty miserable your whole entire life. And I think buying stocks.
Anyway, don't complain. You need to have a poker face.
I think this needs to be, this is relatable to both buying stocks, shares in companies. It's also about, offsetting today's pleasure for tomorrow's gain. So, invest to get compound interest. You don't get to, spend your money now and have all sorts of fun with every single dollar you make now, and then also have a nice retirement and also have, compound interest and end up having essentially a salary from your dividends coming in, or your stock money coming in. So you can't have all aces, and we shouldn't wait around expecting to have all aces. So yes, the Maverick and the Bronco are extremely long waits, but they have incredible resale, and you can actually get them at MSRP with the tricks we talked about earlier. Let's just finish off this list because we're getting into the Maverick content now.
I want to know what happened to my Maverick.
Yes, so Genesis GV70, 27.5% difference. Except these haven't been out long enough to really make me feel confident about resale. Kia Stinger, we had 2 for sale on our lot, and both of them were significantly less than what they originally were going for. We also had, we had a Genesis or 2, and I can't remember which Genesis. It was a sedan, which traditionally has bad resale value, but that had pretty bad resale value. So I'd like to wait a few more years before I'd consider buying a Genesis, because resale is so unbelievably important to me. So those are your vehicles, but the Genesis looks amazing. Great looking vehicle. So you want to check that out on Car and Driver. Let's get to the Maverick news. So
just one question before.
Absolutely.
I was waiting to finish the list. And Peugeot wants to know, will the, I'm sorry if I don't have the correct name, will the 296 JTB will have a great trade value?
The Porsche?
Oh,
sorry, it was
I'm
Porsche.
not sure.
Porsche GT.
GTB?
Yeah. Anything
Have
Porsche.
a great trade value?
Porsche and cars equals great resale, and actually you can make money with a Porsche. Even now, like as of now, you have a Porsche, it's 2 years old, you're going to sell it for almost certainly more than what you paid for it. If I could have a Porsche 911 right now based on today's prices, I'm positive in a year I'm going to be selling it for more than what I sold it for.
And Peugeot says is Ferrari.
Ferrari, if you, worst case scenario, keep them long enough and eventually you will sell them for more than what you paid for. I haven't looked at any, the Ferrari 296 GTB, or JTB, GTB, French English. Yes, you're going to make money with one of those. Porsche, it's pretty interesting. If we went back into the early 2000s, when you're looking at 80s and 90s Porsches, resale wasn't that impressive. A 5 or 10-year-old Ferrari, it was kind of a nightmare because you'll have spent a lot in maintenance and repairs, and then it wasn't worth nearly what it originally sold for. It wasn't a good investment, but lately Ferraris are good investments and Porsches are vehicles to make money with. But so is your Maverick. So let's talk Ford Maverick. Yeah. So I'm going to try to I've done this before, but I haven't done it in a few months. I'm going to try to download this live and then break it up into segments. I did that like 3-4 months ago, and I can't remember how I did it. So maybe one of my YouTube friends will send me a message. Dwayne, if he's still here, is going to send me a message and remind me how to do this. But Ford Maverick. So let's get out your Ford Maverick notes, because boy, do I ever have some interesting news for you, Marie. And this is where the big mix-up went down. I was frustrated and not pulling out my hair, but losing my hair last week and earlier this morning.
It's scary.
Yeah. So Marie,
did the price one
at Ford, You ordered your Maverick, you ordered it as a 2022. They couldn't build it as a 2022, so your pricing went away. It's now going to be a 2023. Now, for people that are currently ordering Fords, I don't expect in the future, I think when we carry over, you're just going to have to deal with the whole new price, but you're getting a $3,250 reduction on your Maverick.
That's a lot.
Based on, 37,655. And actually $200 more. You're going to pay a little bit more. And I've got it here on your Dora here. And I've got some real bad news about your Dora, but here it's a little bit more because I added spray and bed liner. So
you had it?
I added spray.
You removed it. What happened between that?
In 2022, I removed it and then I added it back on. And
because I was mad at you, you had it back on.
Yes, and also because Ford was like, hey, you can add it back on. We have liberated some of those bed liners.
That's good news.
Yeah, but I don't think they really did liberate very many bed liners. I think it actually caused more delays. And
delays? Oh, so it's not built yet.
No, it is built. So I'm gonna ask you to calm down just a little. your reaction. I can understand. You're Maverick Maddie here, and I've got good news and bad news. So
I was waiting till 2 years.
Hear me out. Yeah, you've been waiting a really, really long time, but your patience will pay off. This Maverick in the background, right now, this is actually a 22 with 34,000 kilometers, so roughly 24,000 miles. It's exactly like yours. It's the same color. Mm-hmm. You see the caps up front, they're painted, so it's got luxury.
It's an XLT, I guess, too.
It's an XLT. It's a hybrid luxury package. It's just like your Maverick. This sold at a dealership, my local dealership. We sold this for $42,999. Now, as you saw, the window sticker on yours is $37,655, and you're getting $3,250 off. So you're
wow.
Not everyone can expect, don't sit around waiting to buy a vehicle under MSRP if it's popular. But you order a Ford, it comes in, you get it at MSRP, or you get it at the best pricing for that year. So your 2022 pricing, it's gone. We have to forget about it. Mm-hmm. Now, Ford is giving you price protection, but moving forward from year to year, we're probably not going to see those anymore, but vehicles will be getting produced faster. So we probably won't have to see those coming up in the future. So you're buying this at, I'll let you do the math with my side phone here, but you can get me the overall price, and I'd like to know the percentage, but I'm suspecting you're going to pay like 20% less if I do really some fast math in my head. But you'll want to take that window sticker price, remove $3,250 from it, and get me that number, and then I'll help you figure out the interest rate. But I'm sure you can anyways. You're a financial director, so I'm sorry. Maybe I did a bit of mansplaining there. My apologies. So Marie's going to get an incredible price on this. And even if Marie was buying it just at window, because you order with Ford, you get it at window sticker when it shows up. You got your original price or that protected. You get your interest rate protected. Use the tricks I mentioned earlier on in the vehicle. Get them to sign a lease or purchase agreement. Get them also to sign the build sheet saying that they will sell you the vehicle at that price. Of course, as long as it comes in, if it's a 23 you're ordering, as long as it comes in as a 2023. I ordered a Porsche 911. I don't expect to pay 2022 pricing on it. When it comes in after a 3-year wait, I'm going to expect to pay, maybe $40,000 more for it. Instead of 180 Canadian, maybe I'll pay 220. But it's still going to be a winner of a vehicle. There's so much hate being thrown at the Maverick because people, say, I've given up. I'm not waiting any longer for this. This is ridiculous. And I even read comments sent to me saying, hey, Johnny, sorry, love your channel or like your channel or whatever. But they're saying I'm never going to buy a Ford again because Ford had me wait. Well, during the last 3 years, pretty much anything popular, any winner models you waited for. And the loser models you didn't wait for. So what's better? Waiting for a Maverick, then when it shows up, you could resell it for, $5,000-$6,000 more and make money, or order a Porsche. Buy a Porsche, drive it a year, and sell it for more than what you paid for, get paid to buy a Porsche 911, get paid to buy a Ford Maverick, get paid to buy a Ford Bronco. There's got to be your poker hand cannot be all aces. You can't go through life saying, I'm only going to be happy and I'm not going to complain if I get dealt aces, 4 aces. This doesn't happen. Let's be realistic. If you're going to make money with a vehicle, there's got to be some sort of downside, and the downside is you have to wait for it. So you got to take your pleasure with your pain. I'm sorry. I thought that was maybe an English expression, but I might be mixing up languages because that just actually doesn't sound wholesome at all. My apologies to the community here. I did not intend for that. Now, the other bad news. There's going to be a same colored Maverick as yours on the streets of our town, and it's going to look better than yours because those are 19-inch bronze mags. And they're going to be on a hybrid Maverick that's going to get lowered.
The owner switch it.
So my friend, who currently has a Maverick.
Which friend buy it?
Well, I'm not going to mention his name. Well,
yeah, you will tell me after, yeah.
I did a review of his vehicle. So I've said his name before, but my friend Tristan, he's going to be, he ordered up one and he's happy waiting. And the reason he's happy waiting is because he's going to, and even an EcoBoost has really good resale value. So he's going to be a huge winner when it comes to selling that Maverick. And then he's going to win yet again when he picks up one of these Mavericks, because I expect prices selling over MSRP, I think, is going to be something we'll see until inventories are actually pretty decent on these models. And then once there is actual inventory on Mavericks, they're still going to have very low depreciation, just like the Jeep Broncos. You're going to be selling them, you're going to be driving them for free or making money after selling them for a year until there's a bunch of them on the lots. And there's still going to be vehicles that depreciate very low depreciation. So this is what I call cars that are winners. Cars that are losers is when you go out and you shop. You don't shop a vehicle. You don't shop its quality. You just shop the rebate. And the biggest rebate is the biggest loser. That's straight up. So you've got your price there. You'll want to remove $3,250.
250?
Yeah, so actually I'm
sorry, with the English, with the numbers, I'm not that good.
No worries. So you've got 34,405. So if you were to sell that for 43,000, right now, you'd be making, I had it pretty much spot on 20%. So sorry, I promise I didn't do that math before the show to figure it out. That actually was quick mental math off the top. Checked it with the calculator. It's 20%. Unless you could actually do the reverse equation to make sure that I put it in correctly. But it looks like that's 20% here. So I don't want to take up too much more time. I am going to share one piece of bad news about your Maverick. And it's good news for people out there. People last week in the live, one person asked, how does your dealer feel about you buying all these hot vehicles? Well, I've always bought all the vehicles that I like. I've always switched 2-3 times a year because I generally own 2-3 vehicles at once. I switch 2-3 of them. I hold on to them for about 6 months or a year. I once bought an EcoBoost Mustang and I lost a ton of money on that because I loved the 2.3 liter, but peer pressure, ego. I felt like I didn't have, the manly Mustang. I was being silly and a child. So I lost about $8,000 from owning that over 4 months. I was upside down.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. You don't want to sell a vehicle 3 months later in a bad vehicle market, which 2015, it wasn't a hot vehicle market.
Sometimes you need to wait.
Sometimes you need to wait. But my local dealer here, obviously, they kind of see us as one person here. So they put you as a priority 19. So very important to know about your Ford Maverick. Check this with your dealer. If you're a 2022 converted to 2023, you should have been given a priority 10 or 11 or 12 based on how far back you go. So people who are like summer, early fall, 2022 for their Maverick order, 2021 for their Maverick order should definitely have been given a 10, 11, or 12. Well, because we're lucky and we get to play with these hot models that are hot now, but I've bought some Fords that had bad resale. The Ford Focus did not have good resales. $8,000 up behind on that. At Lincoln MKCs, I often lost, 6, 8,000 on another, 7 on another. So I've lost a lot of money over the years on vehicles. It's my passion. It's what I do. But they gave you a code 19 because lately we got, we had our Broncos.
You had too much car and I was not able to have only one.
Even when the dealer wants to, let's say the dealer doesn't know about priority codes, or let's say the dealer doesn't give you the right priority code. Some good news behind that. So, if you're waiting on a Bronco, you're waiting on a Mustang, good news. Your dealer could give you a 9, and Ford went, that doesn't make sense. And I'll show you right here. I've got the proof. Show it to you. Priority 19. That's your name, right?
Yeah.
That's your name.
Or
Okay.
it's my father's name.
So I'm not going to show you her father's name, but right here, priority 19 and Ford. Thank you so much. I'm loving Ford. I was kind of frustrated. I was like, what, 19? This is why there's delays. But no, then they went in and, quickly, a few weeks later, right here, priority 1. They're
Wow.
like, this poor lass, she's been waiting since July 2021. So Ford was like, forget what the dealer says. We're giving her a priority 1. And I didn't even know I knew Ford gives out priority 1s. I thought they only gave it out to, people like journal when they need to make sure that a journalist gets a vehicle, for example, or I don't know. I really don't. I thought you almost never saw a priority 1. I thought it was generally priority 2 when Ford's like, whoa, factory, build this. But here's the thing. Here's the mix-up. My brother sold in February 2022 a hybrid. So hybrids were sold out, right? That got sold out November 15th. Then he confirmed his order November 30th. I confirmed your order. I've got the sheet right here. I have the date. You can see I'm working hard for you. I had your order confirmed. What is that? September 20th, 2022. So in Canada, that was the first day, I believe, I had probably the first confirmed order in all of Canada, because I tried it on the 15th, the 16th, the 17th, the 18th, and come the 20th, I tried it 3 or 4 times that day. Like, it was pretty much almost every hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I think it was maybe a few minutes past 5, or maybe it was 4. All I know is I tried it 3 times already that day. Then I go for about the 4th time and poof, it picked up. And I was like, wow, that just picked up. I've been trying all day. I don't think anyone is as persistent, possibly annoying, but persistent as I. So I said, I bet this is pretty much the first confirmed order in Canada.
Yeah.
You got passed by someone that bought outside of when it was sold out. And what was, I've been telling people from the beginning, do a pre-order. Find a dealer that will give you a pre-order. I know Ford says the Maverick is sold out. I know Ford says the Bronco is sold out, but go do a pre-order. Get that, make sure the order gets put into the system. Worst thing is Ford goes, well, we can't build that, but at least it's hanging out, chilling, like a villain in the system. Well, this Maverick order is a villain, and I'm happy for the customer, because we shouldn't be prioritized. But their order is exactly like yours, except they have dark gray. Your Maverick is Area 51. Guess what? They have a spray and bed liner. Sorry, they don't have a spray and bed liner. They have a roll-up cover. And what have we said all along? What has Ford been saying all along? Roll-up covers, they're very limited. But you had the spray-in, which recently Ford was like, hey, go for the spray-in. We've allocated more. It's not because the spray and bed liner situation globally is resolved. There's still not enough. But they took it off some other models, put it on the Maverick to make Maverick. They took it off F-150s to make Maverick people happy, because it's a new product that pays them so much less money. But they want the new product people. Remember, roughly 65% of Maverick owners are coming from other brands.
Wow.
So Ford is giving up profit now on, super equipped F-150s that want a bed liner, and sending some of that to Mavericks. I think that's pretty big. I think that's like, wow, that's really good customer service. And plus, some of the F-150s can't be built because of, complexities, massaging seats and whatnot, fully reclining seats. I talk about this from pretty often. So anyways, the Maverick, you've got a spray and bed liner, supposed to be okay. And that Maverick, which was only confirmed November 30th, 2022, so 2 months and 10 days after yours, showed up like a week or two ago. So I've been frustrated a week and a half. So I've had this internal frustration thinking, what the heck? I didn't know about the Priority 19.
That's the story of my life. Everybody passed in front of me.
Well, very oddly, I think probably I made a mistake. I think safely, I'm still going to say, don't throw the spray and bed liner on, don't add the spray and bed liner. Okay, so it means it added an extra 2 weeks. But looking at your, it's a different tracker than the public tracker, but looking at the private tracker, I see that your vehicle came out of factory and then went off, was sort of not doing anything, then went off to the body shop and came out a month later. I think what happened is your Maverick waited a month for its spray and bed liner. I think you're getting your Maverick 1 month later.
They said, yeah, take it, but nope.
I think you would have had that for basically March. And actually, originally, I think they were going to build you, if I recall, early January. Yeah, we would have.
It was supposed to be the 3rd.
Or the 8th. Early January, week of the 3rd, or the date of the 3rd. Either way,
About that,
it was supposed to be built in January. And I think I messed up your order by throwing in spray and bed liner because this illustrates two things. Mm-hmm. It can appear like there's ample material for something and it can still cause you problems. And, the roll-up cover on the other vehicle, something can appear to be really limited and very problematic, and you might get lucky and you might just get it allotted to you because there's still some quantities, which means some dealers and some customer orders, buyers' orders will actually get filled.
But you know what? It's not that bad because it saves me money for now. You know why?
Why is that?
Because if I receive it right now in Canada, but in Quebec, we need to have winter tires before March 15. So I won't have to buy winter tire for 1 month because at the beginning I was supposed to have it in February.
Fair enough.
Save me money.
Well, I like the positive.
I won't put it in the salt in the winter. I will have it for spring. It will be beautiful.
Well, Jennifer Lawrence, thank you so much for that silver lining. I appreciate your star power being here tonight. Maybe with your presence, we'll get 1 million views. But in the meantime, I want to mention for the next show, I will talk about some recalls more in depth. But really quickly to wrap up the show, there's demonstration delivery hold on certain Broncos, Explorers, F-150s, Mustangs, and Aviators because of the 10-speed transmission, which I absolutely love. I prefer a Mustang with a 10-speed automatic compared to the G-Trag. The Tremec is unbeatable, which is offered in the Mach 1s and the GT350s back in the day. But I digress. The 10-speed, faster than any human can shift. Fantastic transmission. However, there's a batch of them. So you might be getting an email. Check your emails. Check your phone. If your dealer calls these days, pick up the phone because there is potentially either what they called a loose bolt or in brackets extra bolt inside the transmission assembly, and it could make it so that your vehicle cannot be put and parked. They're not the people that currently own them. They're not saying stop driving them. But my huge recommendation is always use your handbrake. Your handbrake, which now at Ford is your finger brake down on the left beside the steering wheel, or sometimes by your shifter right over here in between the two seats. Use that. It helps the longevity, the durability of your transmission because these vehicles weigh a lot of weight, and when you're on even a bit of an incline, clunks into the transmission. So use your handbrake, check your emails. Now that's one that kind of is more serious. Still a good transmission. Ford's going to fix for free of charge. You don't have to worry about anything. But then sometimes you get other things like a software recall. And there is a software recall out. And once again, you're going to get an email. This is, what is the issue? When driving your vehicle in four-wheel drive low mode, the rear view camera image may reappear on the sync screen after completing a backing event. So you put it in backup, rear view camera's there. You start to go forward and it comes back on your rear view. They're saying that could distract drivers. So it is considered, serious. But this is what I loathe about Consumer Reports. Going to give it a little shot at Consumer Reports. They'll go, oh, there's a recall. X number of people had to go to the dealership for a recall, and they'll treat this recall, they'll put the same weighting to it for, dependability and reliability studies as a vehicle that would have, the same percentage of vehicles have a transmission break. Transmission, even if this was, 10% of the vehicles having this backup camera flash up on the screen, software issue, easily resolved. I really don't see it as a big deal at all. On a scale of 0 to 100 in importance, I'd give it a 1 in severity. And even if it was 10% of the vehicles, if you have 1% of transmissions blowing up on another model, they're going to look at it like, wow, 10 times more reliability out of, transmission explosion than, a little software thing. So that's my rant for the night. I'm petting the cat backwards. Some people at Consumer Reports are going to be upset that they can just change how they do their studies. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I've read into how they're looking at reliability. It's about, number of times you go to the dealership for something other than oil change. And I remember reading specifically in detail 2015, also 2017 study, reading the full in length and getting to the section. And they're like, back then it was page 6 for 2 different years. It was roughly page 5, 6, 7. And they're like, well, we have to say that a lot of what we're looking at is actually software issues. But you cannot treat a software issue with the same weight that you treat a major mechanical break. Just like you can't treat a blown engine the same way as you treat electric window motor. Pump motor. Okay, so we're wrapping the show up. Are there any?
We have 2 questions.
2 questions.
Tonight.
Let's do it.
So Tien Baba was asking, does Mary get 4 pass point to spend?
Thank you so much, Tien Baba, for the question. Thank you so much for
I want to know the answer.
I love it. You're always watching and leaving comments. In this small channel, join in, subscribe, hit the bell notification, be part of the community while we're still small and we get to talk one-on-one through the comments section, because the channel will grow, but you can be one of the earlier adopters. But thank you so much to all you early adopters of the channel, of our style, of wanting to help and create a helpful community where we all help each other out. Thank you so much. We can't exist without you. And, you'll have big, huge channels giving this message out, but there's channels that make, millions per year, hundreds of thousands per year. And then there's channels that make, a few $1,000s per year, but have, 3-4 vehicles on payment. What crazy person would do that? Yeah, we spend way more than we make through YouTube. So we spend way more. Maddie did taxes this year for me. We have a lot of fun, and we're having fun with y'all. We're having fun with the vehicles, and we're come back next week because I'm going to be talking about the Ford F-150 Raptor more. It's suspension versus the Lightning. The Lightning gets a lot of heat and hate. And bombshell, you can watch our review for the Lightning, but its suspension, I'm sorry, is unless you're off-roading, outside of the off-road and literally flying up into the air, the Raptor is better. But this is what the Raptor does going down the road. It has shocks that are about rear shock is about 6 inches in diameter. And then you've got the Lightning, and it handles the road so much better. You drive it and it feels like a sports car. You hit the pedal and it is like a top of the line sports car. You go into corners and it handles great. It doesn't have all this body roll. It is incredible. It has better suspension than the Bronco. And, when I got the Raptor, I was like, my goodness, this thing is incredible. When I got the Bronco, we were both like, wow, what suspension, what, comfort and off-road capability.
But John, I need to make you come back here. You do the big loop. The question was about the Ford pass point.
So sorry. Maddie will get Ford pass points, but locally what we'll probably do is we often trade those Ford pass points as a $200 reduction on a maintenance plan. So if you are going to keep it, we'll throw on a maintenance plan. I really like Ford's maintenance plan, and If not, we'll maybe turn your Ford Pass points into 2 free oil changes and an inspection.
I love it.
And if not, well, maybe we'll spend those Ford Pass points on some accessories, because I know you want to dress her up.
I need accessories.
Your Maverick going to be a boy or a girl, or gender neutral?
None of the above. It's a car.
Okay, so
It's a car, but I
genderless.
want a roller on the bed. So yeah, maybe with the points. Huh? Why
And
not?
by roller, you mean a roll-up cover.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know that word. And we have one last question from Tom Dinder. Do you have any update on hybrid Bronco or Bronco Sport?
Update on, oh, well, I've got great news. If you want to have some information on the Bronco Sport, check out Tim Bartz did a video right before ours. He put out a video on the Bronco Sport Outer Banks model as well as the Badlands. So he's got a little bit of news for that. I wonder if it's going to have to do with the painted black top. I kind of feel like it will. Great source of information. Here, we love Tim Bartz, as many of you in the community do, because he believes what we believe. That, you know, we're put on this earth to help people, and this is how we can help people. And he's helped and continues to help people. So really appreciate Tim Bartz. Long MacArthur Ford. By the way, our good friend Dave and Kelly are on Monday nights. So they're Monday nights at 9 p.m. So they're starting up in 10 minutes. So yes, howdy YouTube Car Spotters Guide. Thank you for making it into the show. Really appreciate it. Appreciate everyone that made it tonight. And I've got one last question and then we are signing off. Yeah. Was there one more question? You had said there's two.
Yeah, it was just the update on the hybrid Bronco and Bronco Sport.
Yeah.
So that's the last one.
I'll cover it when we've got more information, but right now I'm seeing it, if we're really lucky, as a mid-model refresh, and if we're really unlucky, when they redo the Bronco. And I talked more about specific dates about redoing the Bronco, I think not last live, but the live before. But basically, we're probably looking at getting a whole new Bronco redesign for roughly... somewhere between 2028 and 2030. So I think they're going to stretch it out a little longer than usual because of its incredible popularity. But if they do have it last 8 years, let's say, well, then the mid-model refresh could be at the 4th year, which would be 2026. So if we do get anything hybrid, if we're lucky, 2026. And that would coincide with Ford having 6 square miles of factories for making everything that's electric. So I'd put my money, I'd say actually there's pretty decent chances of getting some cool hybrid info in regards to the Bronco come 2026. So stay tuned. We'll still be here. Hope you'll all still be here. Really appreciate that. So there's pretty much everyone who's here tonight that I'm seeing pop by in the comments. You guys have been here basically for the last year or two, really supporting us, making this channel possible. Marie, do you have any goodbye words? Anything that needs to be added?
No, everything was said tonight. Thank you all to being here with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Until next time, we wish you all more cars and more power. Take care.
And more Maverick.
Yeah, Marie's getting her Maverick. We'll do some videos.